I'm a living, breathing person, human being. For example, McDonald's. McDonald's can't force me to eat their Big Macs. They need my consent. I would like to state for the record that I am not a corporation. I don't choose the contract with the state of Michigan. I don't choose to do business with them in this regard with another business. It seems like a coercion of some sort.
All right, guys. Today we're diving into one of the most ridiculous sovereign citizen cases I've ever seen. This guy is in the Court of Appeals trying to argue his way out of paying child support. And trust me, you have to hear his reasoning to believe it. I can't tell if he's attempting some kind of legal genius move, or if he just completely skipped the class on common sense. Either way, it's wildly entertaining. Drop your thoughts in the comments. On a scale of 1 to 10, how high or low do you think this guy's IQ is? Do you think he's genuinely trying to make a legal point, or is this just a desperate attempt to dodge child support? Let's get into it.
If you wouldn't mind putting your name on the record, please.
I'm the executor and sole beneficiary of the trust and estate of Mr. Kevin Dwayne Craft, the legal persona. I'm not here making a general appearance. I'm here by special divine appearance, judge, to settle a matter, to call for a constitutional court of record to ask for a summary judgment upon the truth and facts that I placed upon the record with my documents. I stand firmly on my rights, and I'm here to ask for that summary judgment, please.
You've asked for.
I do also have a few questions.
I understand you're pro se, and then therefore you get a little bit of leeway, but typically the judges don't answer questions. We're the ones who ask questions. This isn't like a trial court where it's a very kind of back and forth. The Court of Appeals is more structured in terms of the lawyers or parties come up, they make their arguments. The judges may or may not have questions for the person, and then it's submitted, and then we go back and discuss the matter, and then at some point in the future, we come out with an opinion. So it is different in that respect than trial court.
Understood. But I am wondering if this is a court of constitution, and would the Constitution be applied in these proceedings?
The Court of Appeals, the Michigan Court of Appeals, is provided for under the state Constitution of 1963.
Is that a yes?
That's the answer I'm giving you.
Okay. I'm asking to verify to make sure these proceedings are legitimate. The Constitution has two jurisdictions: common law, admiralty law, or maritime tribunal. And I'm asking in which context would this court try to enforce jurisdiction on me?
We're acting under the state Constitution of Michigan of 1963.
Moving forward, I'm here to pretty much address the court's error for ignoring my motions. Notice of dismissal, default judgment under Federal Rule 55 was filed December 12, 2022. Under Federal Rule 55, if a party fails to respond to the defendants themselves, and this is confirmed by my affidavits and other means, the clerk must officially record a default judgment of that party. I filed several motions and they were ignored. That's why I'm here. In Haynes versus Kirnar, 404 U.S. 519, 1972, courts must be understanding and not easily reject motions from people just representing themselves. And that's what took place in this matter. In Article 1, Section 17 of the Michigan Constitution prevents courts from ignoring motions and guarantees that people have a fair chance to represent themselves in any argument and evidence. That did not happen. That's why we're here. The state ordered me to take a paternity test. And Monell versus Department of Social Services, which is a New York State case. The Supreme Court case established that municipalities' liability under the Section 1983 for constitutional violations in the context of child support cases, where the appellant argues that a warrant should be required for me obtaining genetic and biological material. I think it's very sensitive when a state injects an order asking me to give genetic.
This guy is reaching so hard, it's almost painful to watch. It's beyond obvious he's just trying to dodge paying child support. Like seriously, at some point, you gotta step up and take responsibility. And get this, he actually had the nerve to complain that the state asked for biological data to confirm the child is his. Are you kidding me? That's not some government conspiracy. It's basic biology. How else are we supposed to confirm paternity? It's called facts, my dude. Honestly, I don't even think he's a real sovereign citizen. He seems more like someone just looking for any excuse to skip out on his kid, and that's seriously messed up. In today's world, kids need their parents more than ever. The fact that this guy walked into court with a sovereign citizen script, hoping it would get him out to support his own child, that's just diabolical. Let me know what you guys think so far. And now, let's dive back in.
That's really sensitive material. It's not like a document or anything. That's personal biological material. That's why those specimens were not granted. That's why I deny any consent or any contract with the state or Title 4D agency to give away my biological and genetic material. That the case Monell is relevant because it underscores the importance to ensure that government agencies like the friend of the court on this context. These are for-profit agencies disguised as government agencies like the friend of the court, adhere to constitutional standards where collecting evidence potentially implying the need of procedure safeguards to protect individuals' Fourth Amendment. That's why I asked, was this a constitutional court? The asking for genetic material is protected by my Fourth Amendment right. The Fourth Amendment protects individuals from unreasonable searches and seizures and safeguards one's privacy and assurance that any such search is conducted within the boundaries of legal requirements. I see that they're not here today, and that's some questions that are raised, and those were my concerns. On August 11, 2022, the Kent County ordered an appointment for me for genetic and biological testing. In a testing laboratory, DNA Diagnosis Center is a business, and I can prove it's a business because I have their Dun and Bradstreet numbers, 877-184226 for the record. They also said, when I thought this was funny, the state of Michigan stated that it would pay the cost of the genetic test, and if I wasn't excluded, that I would be responsible for that cost. And with that being said, that set alarms. The state of Michigan is also a business. And with them fronting the cost for me, that presented an alarm for me because I don't choose the contract with the state of Michigan. I don't choose to do business with them in this regard with another business. It seems like a coercion of some sort for them to upfront the cost if I was going to be responsible. I do not consent to that business arrangement. The state, they failed to show a promissory note of a contract of any sort. I submitted documents, notice to the court to demand dismissal for lack of jurisdiction, demanded to see an open court evidence of personal and subject matter jurisdiction, and notice of court to refusing to appear voluntary. And I do not accept the offer to contract, and I do not consent to these proceedings. That affidavit or notice to motion was submitted on November 28th, 2022. So again, I'm just bringing up the point that I submitted numerous of documents asking for clear evidence or asking for due process, also asking for just quite frankly, to be transparent with what's happening. And I believe I deserve the right to see in writing what gives them the authority and what contract am I entering. All
right. So this sovereign citizen actually stands up in court and says he wants to see the contract that gives the state the authority to test him for biological data. Like what? First of all, my guy, there's no secret contract. The state enforces child support through family law. It's not some hidden agenda. In most states, if there's a question about paternity, the court can absolutely order a DNA test. And guess what? That's 100% backed by law. It's not about some random contract. It's standard legal procedure. The whole point is to make sure the right person is held financially responsible for the child. I'm honestly not sure where he thinks this argument is going, but the law couldn't be clearer. I've got a strong feeling the Court of Appeals is going to shut this down real quick. What do you guys think? Is it obvious this dude is just trying to dodge child support? Drop your thoughts below, and let's get back into it.
9, a creditor must provide proper documentation such as a promissory note contract to substantiate a debt or court claim. They did not. More documents I filed. Affidavit inserting corporate nature of government entities. I submitted that document because I'm concerned that these are for-profit businesses disguised as government agencies. I have proof. Kent County Court, Dun and Bradstreet number for the record, 152906082. Kent County Front of the Court, Dun and Bradstreet number, 6088333133. State of Michigan, Dun and Bradstreet number, 504698428. These are businesses. I would like to state for the record that I am not a corporation. I'm a living.
I honestly don't understand why these sovereign citizens think that just by declaring they're a living, breathing human being, the law is somehow going to vanish. Like, okay, buddy, we're all living, breathing human beings. That doesn't give you a magical get out of responsibility card. They act like saying that phrase is some kind of legal cheat code, as if the courts can say, oh, wow, our bad. Didn't realize you were a human. Never mind the child support. It's completely delusional. And I'm seriously sitting here wondering where they even get these ideas. If anyone out there knows the origin of this stuff, drop in the comments, because I'm genuinely curious how this kind of logic spreads. Anyway, let's dive back in and see what other wild arguments this guy throws at the court.
They have to abide by the same rules as other businesses. And may I give an example? For example, McDonald's. McDonald's can't force me to eat their Big Macs. They need my consent. None of these businesses that I've mentioned have my consent to do business with them. Section 458 of the Social Security Act, incentive payments to state. It's a conflict of interest. And it's my argument right here, right now, that the state incentivizes them for it incentivizes them to collect more child support. The main argument I have here and for you guys is full disclosure. It seems like they enter me in a contract without my consent, without full disclosure, and that's the problem here. I'm here to argue subject matter and lack of jurisdiction. No evidence was established in my involvement of a common law crime or damages, and I did not commit any common law crime. Notice of court to refusing to appear voluntary, and I do not accept these contracts, and I do not consent to these proceedings was another motion or notice to motion that I submitted 11/28/22. And it's basically evidence they didn't provide any evidence of an injury or injured party. And
Mr. Kraft, you're out of
yes.
time. We understand that you raise issues of disclosure,
Yes.
jurisdiction, remedy, and as I indicated, your brief, as with all the appellants and appellees we have here today, the briefs that you submit are kind of the key issue or the key tool that we use to resolve cases. And so I just want you to know, we have your brief.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go back. We've had research attorneys look at it. We're going to look at it again. We're going to discuss your case. And then you'll get an opinion from us sometime within the next few weeks.
If I may, one last thing.
You've got, if you can do it in 20 seconds.
I can. The government must prove charges beyond a reasonable doubt with clear evidence, especially when making the claims against someone. And I'm asking you guys right here, right now, they did not provide any evidence against me. And I will ask you to...
Wow. After that last sentence, I almost feel like giving this guy a pass. Almost. Does he seriously believe that saying, don't hold prejudice against me, is going to make the judge suddenly toss out the entire legal system? Like, oh, my bad, I didn't realize. Never mind the law. Come on, man. It's like he truly thinks words alone will magically rewrite reality. Honestly, it's laughable. And I'm over here wondering, who told this guy this would actually work? Now look, his argument that the state doesn't have the authority to order a DNA test? Not the absolute worst take I've ever heard, but it's a long way from being convincing. He's clearly grasping for some imaginary legal loophole, when in reality, this could have gone so much better if he just had a lawyer. Seriously, imagine if he had someone in his corner who actually understood the law. Maybe then he wouldn't be spouting off these wild theories about how none of this applies to him. A good attorney could have made a halfway decent argument, or at least kept him from digging this deep a hole. But instead, here we are, watching him sink further with every word. It's honestly painful to watch. And the thing is, there is a better way to handle this. Fighting the law with nonsense never works. So, what do you guys think? Does this guy have any shot, or is he just wasting everyone's time? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content just like this. I appreciate every one of you for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.